I never in a million years thought I'd get a film directed by Ridley Scott about the Gucci family. But here we are with House of Gucci. House of Gucci. Now, House of Gucci really got second film to come out of 2021. His first film was The Last Duel, which I liked quite a lot. And now House of Gucci is his second film to come out this year. And basically, the film has a huge cast and it follows the character of Maserati Gucci. Am I pronouncing the character's name wrong? And apologize if I do, because I'm not that interested in the Gucci family. But anyway, nevertheless, the film follows the story of Maserati Gucci, played by Adam Driver in the film, who basically gets married to Patricia Regina, played by Lady Gaga in the film. And basically, long story short, they end up getting involved in the Gucci family. But at the same time though, as they start to get involved in the Gucci family, the film becomes more about greed, becomes more about crossing over one another, and also becomes more about power, and also becomes more about potential murder that might happen later on in the film. And that's basically my interpretation of the plot for House of Gucci. And the funny thing is with this film, is it's so bizarre. This is such a bizarre film, and it's so weird, and it's just so unusual. And the fact that they got this huge cast like Adam Driver, Lady Gaga, Salma Hayek, Al Pacino, Jared Leto, and Jeremy Irons to all be in this film is quite incredible. I don't know how they managed to do that in a film about the Gucci family, and I'm not entirely sure why Ridley Scott has directed it either. Like, Ridley Scott has done some weird movies in his past, some absolutely fantastic movies as well, but he's also done some weird movies. But I never ever in a million years thought that Ridley Scott would ever direct a movie about the Gucci family, but here we are, and it's just so bizarre. And you know, the thing is though, I've seen other bizarre movies this year. You know, like, I saw James Gunn's Suicide Squad earlier on this year, and that's a bizarre movie, but it's fantastically bizarre. And by the way, Ridley Scott probably wouldn't approve of James Gunn's Suicide Squad, but personally, I adored it. But the thing is though, you know, House of Gucci, it's weirdly bizarre. It's just really weird and bizarre. But the thing is though, I've got to admit, I kind of enjoyed it. Actually, I think it's quite a good film. I enjoyed it far more than I was expecting to. Because honestly, this film came out a couple of days ago now, and it got some mixed reviews when it came out. You know, it's like a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes right now, which isn't bad, but also isn't great either. It's quite mixed. I mean, the majority of people like it, but at the same time though, it's not a great majority, if you know what I mean. And honestly, I really didn't know what to expect going into House of Gucci. I had no sense of expectation going into the film, because I just didn't know what to expect. In the end, it's a film about the Gucci family. I couldn't care about Gucci less than I do. Honestly, Gucci, in my opinion, is just, I don't care about it. I don't really care about fashion in general, so I don't really care about Gucci at all. So wasn't that interested in the story, and that's the only reason I was interested in the film, because I thought the trailers were great, and also, you know, Ridley Scott directed, and I think he did a splendid job with The Last Duel, and also the fantastic cast. I mean, just look at the cast of the film, and it's just, in the end, the film is so bizarre and so weird, but actually it kind of works in my opinion. There's large sections of the film which just shouldn't work, but actually in the end, I'm not sure why it does, but it does kind of work. I'm not sure why it does, but it does. But actually, I've got reasons why it works. I do have reasons, actually. And I think one of the main reasons the film works is because of the lead two performances from Adam Driver and Lady Gaga. Honestly, Adam Driver is so incredible in this film. He's such an incredible actor. I loved him in The Last Duel, even though he played quite an evil character in the film. I thought he was so fantastic in the way he played that character. I've loved him in the most recent Star Wars movies. I loved him in Black Klansman. I've loved him in every single film I've seen him in. And yet again, he did not disappoint in this film. Honestly, his acting is so subtle, but so powerful in this film, and just in the best way possible. Honestly, Adam Driver is incredible in this film. He steals every single scene he's in, and also I love the fact that he's protagonist, by the way, because Adam Driver in the films I've seen him in often quite plays, you know, like a supporting character, or like a villain or whatnot, but the thing is though, in this film, he's the protagonist, he's the main character, and I love that. I love that he's in so much of the film, because you can just indulge yourself in Adam Driver's incredible performance. And then obviously Lady Gaga is fantastic as well. She was great in the remake of A Star Is Born, directed by Bradley Cooper, which I'm pretty sure came out in 2018, and I wasn't the biggest fan of A Star Is Born, I got to admit, it just wasn't my sort of film. But nevertheless, she's great in that. She's fantastic in A Star Is Born. and she is fantastic once again here, doing a very different performance than she was doing in Star is Born, but still an incredible performance. Honestly, Lady Gaga is so fantastic in the film, and there's a lot of moments where she shouldn't have seen me, but it works in this film, and just watching, you know, Adam Driver's character bounce off Lady Gaga's character, it's fantastic, and just watching that bond is so good, because you've got Adam Driver doing quite a subtle but powerful performance, and then you have Lady Gaga going all out with her performance, but actually it really enough works watching those two together on screen. And actually I just realised, by the way, you know, Ridley Scott is snapping Adam Driver up recently, isn't it, you know, with The Last Duel, and now this, he's snapping Adam Driver up, and you know what, I'm all for it. I think, you know, yet again, Adam Driver, like he did in The Last Duel, has done a fantastic performance in this film. And at the same time though, I think the film is well directed. Now, I don't think it's as well directed as, you know, The Last Duel, Ridley Scott's last film. I think Ridley Scott did a better job directing The Last Duel, but actually I do think this film is well directed, I do think it's well shot, I think the cinematography is fantastic, and also I think the soundtrack is great as well. You know, this film takes place in like the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, it jumps around quite a lot in terms of its timeline, but the thing is though, I think the soundtrack really encapsulates, you know, the periods of history you're watching, you know, whether it's the 70s or the 80s, like you have Ashes to Ashes by David Bowie in there, you got Heart Glass by Blondie, you got, you know, Face by George Michael, and so on and so on and so on. You have these fantastic soundtrack in there, which works really well, and really encapsulate into the world of the House of Gucci movie. It really encapsulates into the world of the movie in such a great way. And also, the film looks like it takes place in the 70s and 80s and 90s. Honestly, the aesthetic is fantastic, and it never for 1 minute looks like it was shot in 2021 or 2020, whenever this movie was shot. It never for 1 minute looks like it was shot in 2021. It always looks like it was shot in the 70s and the 80s, and the aesthetic is fantastic. And the thing is though, yes, on the surface, that might seem like quite a small thing, but actually it's quite a big thing. You know, if you don't believe in the second of the film, there's a lot of authenticity lost in the story you're watching, but actually none of that authenticity is lost in House of Gucci. The aesthetics look real and the set piece are fantastic, and also the movie was shot during COVID, which I think is actually fantastic as well, because it does not feel like a movie shot during COVID. It doesn't. I'm not saying that, you know, movies shot during COVID, which do potentially feel like shot during COVID, are a bad thing. I'm not saying that, but also what I am saying is this movie looks like it was shot, you know, a couple of years ago, not when, you know, COVID-19 was still pretty bad. I mean, it's still not great now, but not when it was at its worst in Italy. And actually, you know, this movie does not look like it was shot during the pandemic. It does not look like it was shot during the pandemic. And again, that sounds like a small thing, but in this day and age, it's actually quite a big thing. And also, I think that the film isn't too long. You know, a lot of the big criticisms of this film is that it's too long and it outstays welcome at almost 3 hours. And yes, it is a long film. You know, Ridley Scott mostly makes long films. Honestly, most Ridley Scott films are almost 3 hours. That's the way he makes films. But the thing is, though, I didn't find House of Gucci too long. I got to admit that. I mean, I didn't actually think that the last half an hour was outstaying his welcome. I was actually really engaged and really compelled into where the story was going in the last half an hour, because there's a certain storyline to this potential assassination which may take place. I'm not going to give too much away there, but it is implied in the trailer that something might happen in the trailer for this film. And actually, I was really engaged into watching all that build-up in the final half an hour. And actually, I think the one section of the film you could cut out is this whole section, the second act, to Jared Leto's character, Paolo, which is just so bland and boring and so unnecessary as well. Honestly, I would get onto Jared Leto in the film. I would be getting onto his character, his performance, a bit later on in the review. But the thing is though, yes, I don't actually think you could cut anything out from the last half an hour, but I do actually think they could cut something out for like the second act to do Jared Leto's character. But nevertheless, I didn't find it too long. I didn't find it too long. And actually, I think the reason I didn't is because of those two lead performances from Adam Driver and Lady Gaga, which carried so much of this film. Because actually, my biggest problems with this film are the other performances, are the supporting performances from other huge famous actors. Like Al Pacino is in this film, and Al Pacino is good in this film. He's good in this film, I don't mind him, but he's not doing his best performance. Like, honestly, he does come on screen like, I'm Al Pacino, doing an Italian accent. That's what it kind of feels like, I'm Al Pacino. But actually, it's Al Pacino doing an Italian accent, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. Like, there are a couple of lines of film, well, I say couple, quite a few moments of film actually, where Al Pacino just sounds like Al Pacino from like The Irishman, but then he'll come into like his Italian accent a little bit at the end, and like, oh, I forgot you're trying to be Italian. Like, it doesn't always work. But Al Pacino isn't bad in the film. I quite enjoyed watching him. His accent didn't always sound Italian, and quite a lot of the time it did kind of feel like, Al Pacino, I'm Al Pacino, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, wah, look, wah. That's what it kind of felt like with Al Pacino in this film. And also, Jeremy Irons in there as well, and Jeremy Irons is good in this film. But, again, I never for 1 second believed he was Italian. I never 1 second believed that the character that Jeremy Irons was playing was Italian, because honestly, it just sounds like he does in his his voice acting in the original Lion King when he voices Scar. That's what his accent just kind of sounds like through most of the film, and the couple moments he goes to a little bit of Italian accent, but it doesn't really work. And Jeremy Irons is Jeremy Irons in the film. He's doing a good performance, I'm not saying he's bad in the film, but he just sounds like Jeremy Irons. And also, Salma Hayek is in the film as well. And I've got to admit, it seems like she was on drugs through quite a lot of the scenes she was filming in the film. That's not a joke. It seems like her and Lady Gaga, because she says a lot of scenes with Lady Gaga in the film, it does kind of seem like her and Lady Gaga, you know, one set before the scene was filmed, and like, do you want to have some weed, just so we can get in the mood for the scene? Because honestly, she just seems stoned through quite a lot of scenes she's in. And again, I kind of get why, because she's meant to be playing a bit of a sidekick, and it kind of works, but also, the performance feels a bit stale and feels like she's a bit on drugs through the film, and I'm not sure what they were going for with Salma Hayek's character. I understand that she's meant to be a sidekick. I think she's meant to be a sidekick anyway, I wasn't entirely sure, but I understand that she's, you know, meant to be somewhat of a sidekick, but still, I'm not sure what her performance was going for in this film. I'm not sure what they were really going for with Salma Hayek's character. But then there's, you know, Jared Leto's performance as Paolo. And oh my god, Jared Leto is awful in this film. It is quite literally like he's holding up a sign in every scene he's in, like, give me an award. Academy Awards, BAFTAs, Golden Globes, give me an award. That's what it feels like through so much of the film. Like he's holding up a sign like, give me an award. Because honestly, every single scene Jared Leto was in, he's acting his socks off, but not in a good way. Not in a good way. Honestly, he comes on screen, he's like, I'm Paolo, I'm sad, I'm Italian, I'm Italian, I'm sad, I'm Italian. That's what it kind of feels like through so many scenes of the film. Honestly, if you don't believe me, go and watch the film. Honestly, Jared Leto is awful in this film. He's awful, and like I said before, it is kind of like he's holding up a sign through so much of the film, like, give me an award. Please give me an award. Look, I'm doing a fantastic performance. Look how much I'm really getting myself into this character of Paolo. You know, I've been watching a couple of interviews from the House of Gucci cast, and I watched an interview from Jared Leto saying, you know, when we shot the film, I went to go visit Paolo's grave, you know, the character he's playing. I went to go visit, you know, his grave in Italy, and it was very surreal, because we were doing it during COVID, and it was very surreal just looking at his grave, his kind of horns. I was like, what's he going on about? Just play a character. You don't need to get that involved in the character that you really need an award. Honestly, it really does feel like Jared Leto going, give me an award, please. Please give me an award for my performance as Paolo, the sad Italian, the Paolo, the sad Italian. I mean, I know I'm not doing a fantastic Italian accent there, but my Italian accent is better than Al Pacino's there, I've got to admit. But anyway, yes, going back on Jared Leto's performance, it's just like, oh, Italian, just give me a Paolo, I'm Italian, I'm sad, I'm Italian. That's what it feels like through most of the film, and it just doesn't work. Honestly, Jared Leto is awful. I just had to vent out there, because I kind of enjoyed watching him in some moments because the performance was so bad, but sometimes I did quite literally have my head in my hands in the cinema watching Jared Leto's performance in the film. I did quite literally have my head in my hands like this, watching Jared Leto's performance in the film in the cinema, and not in a good way. And also, I'm not entirely sure how all the actors agreed to be in this film. Like, I know it's shot during COVID, so we're like the producer of the film, you know, tempting the actors, you know, come on Al Pacino, come on Jeremy Irons, come on Jared Leto, come on, do you want to come out of your house during COVID and come back to a movie set and people just really like, you know, it's being directed by Ridley Scott? Is that how they got all the cast and Ridley Scott to be involved in the film? Is that generally how they got this fantastic cast and this fantastic director to be involved in the film, because they shot it during COVID and maybe it did an excuse for people to come out of their houses and spend time with others that they weren't really allowed to be with at that point during the pandemic? I don't know, but that's kind of what it feels like. It kind of feels like this, you know, this movie was a way of actors getting out of the house on the pandemic. And maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the actors read the script before. You know, they're absolutely fantastic scripts, but I can't imagine that happening because House of Gucci is so unusual. It's so bizarre. It's so odd. It's so all over the place. It's messy. It's a hugely messy, bizarre film. But the thing is, though, I've got to admit, I kind of enjoyed it. And I'm not sure why I did, but I did in the end. Or whether it was just for, you know, lead performances of Adam Driver and Lady Gaga, or Ridley Scott's direction, which isn't as good as it was in Last Duel, but it's still good. Like, I still think The Last Duel is Ridley Scott's best film of the year, but nevertheless, I do think House of Gucci is well directed, but maybe it was all those elements, or whether it's just the fact that I like a good, odd, and unusual film. I've got to admit, I'm a rare reader person where I like a good, odd, and unusual film, and that's exactly what House of Gucci is. You know, I couldn't care less about Gucci. I've never bought anything Gucci in my life. I don't really care about fashion, but in the end, this film is just a really bizarre family drama. That's what it is in the end. It's a really bizarre family drama, which is kind of the reason it worked for me. I don't know if I have any intentions to ever watch the film again, but I'm happy I went to go and see it, and honestly, watching it in the cinema was quite an experience. It was quite an experience watching it in the cinema. I wouldn't say I recommend other people go watch this movie in the cinema, but I'm happy I did. That's what I will say. I'm happy I watched the movie in the cinema, because it's an experience I'll never forget. Honestly, laughing out loud in certain sequences, which I'm guessing weren't intentionally funny. It's got quite a lot of dark humour in there, and some of it I don't feel was intentional. I'm just going to guess that. Some of it I don't feel was intentional, but yes, laughing out loud in certain scenes and enjoying the film a bit too much, because in the end it's a bizarre, odd family drama, and that's kind of why it works for me overall. You know, if you don't like this film, that's completely understandable. I'd probably agree with you on the reasons you didn't like it, but I did, because it was so bizarre, and I genuinely don't understand how they got Ridley Scott and this huge cast full of great actors to be involved in this film. I genuinely don't understand that, but nevertheless it did, and in the end, it's a bizarre, odd mess that I weirdly enough enjoyed. And so, all in all, I'm going to say that House of Gucci, I'm going to say that's a 7 out of 10. Honestly, like I said before, if you didn't enjoy this film, that's completely fair enough. You know, I'm not going to go out and go, I don't understand why people didn't like House of Gucci. No, I can completely understand why people didn't like House of Gucci. I mean, Jared Leto's in this film, and he's awful. Al Pacino is basically Al Pacino in the film. You know, Jeremy Irons is basically Jeremy Irons in the film. But in the end, the reasons it works with Ridley Scott's direction, the lead performances of Adam Driver and Lady Gaga, and also just the oddness and unusualness of this film, which made it work for me, and in such a weird way. Honestly, I will be very shocked if this film gets any award nominations, but nevertheless, maybe the Academy will actually be impressed by Jared's performance and actually give him an Oscar. If they do, man alive, I don't know what I'll do. Maybe I'll eat my socks, because oh my god, he's so bad in this film. He really is. But nevertheless, in the end, the film does kind of work for me, and it is long, but I don't think it outstays its welcome too much. And also, I did enjoy myself watching it. I enjoyed myself watching this film, sometimes for the wrong reasons, but I enjoyed it for its soundtrack, performances, lead performances of that, and also its direction. It's not Ridley Scott's best film of the year. That's still The Last Duel, in my opinion. I generally think The Last Duel is a fantastic film, and I'm so upset that it bombed so badly at the box office, but it's such a fantastic film. But nevertheless, House of Gucci, I wouldn't say it's a fantastic film, but you know what? It's a bizarre film, and that's kind of why I liked it overall. And so, all in all, I'm going to say that House of Gucci, I'm going to say that that's a 7 out of 10 from me. Anyway guys, what do you think of House of Gucci? Please do comment down below, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyway guys, thank you as always for watching, and if you haven't yet, please do click down below and subscribe on this video, and look forward to many more both film and TV views coming very soon on this channel. See you guys again soon, but bye for now, bye!